What do we have here? Hey everybody, this is Grandpa Growth with the General Zone. We're going to be doing a new series for Ill-Gotten Games. We're going to be playing some Commander online, and we're going to be doing what's called the 10 Ticket Challenge. If you haven't heard about the 10 Ticket Challenge, the idea is that you make a constructed Commander deck in Magic Online, minus the cost of basic land for 10 tickets or less. And some promoters of this idea feel that like your deck can be reasonably competitive, and we're gonna put that claim to the test. We've got a deck here. I spared you having to watch me purchase it because that took several hours in the classifieds. But what we're gonna be working with here is a Edric Spymaster of Tress deck. I picked that because I wanted a low number of colors. Obviously, with a cost restriction like this, you can't run a bunch of dual lands and things like that. So, didn't want too many colors. Knew I definitely wanted to be playing some sort of kind of like cheap aggro control strategy, and Edric just kind of fits right into that. So he was kind of the perfect guy for this. The basic strategy of Edric: you play a bunch of crazy, like silly little one drops, and use them to beat down your opponent and draw cards, and back that up with counter spells. So let's take a look at the deck here. The mana base is pretty bad. Obviously, non-basic land can be some of the most expensive cards, you know, online. I guess with the exception of things like Daze or Force of Will or something like that, but fetch lands, shock lands, dual lands, they're all very expensive online. So we don't have any of that. We got a bunch of basics, some cycle lands. We got one Fairy Conclave, which is kind of a pickup, I guess. It'll probably be good. One thing I'm going to say right off the bat, this deck has way too many tap land. Obviously, we've got a ton of one drops we want to play on turn one. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, yeah, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's a lot of tap land in here, which is not going to be good. So that's going to be one of the things I'm going to change the deck almost immediately. But like I said, this is the best I feel like I could come up with for 10 tickets. But that's going to be part of the fun. It's kind of taking it through the paces, playing some matches with it, and finding out what we want to change, and seeing if we can tune this into a real deck that is still, conforming to the budget restriction. So let's look at what else we got here. Was able to get a couple of the 5-color lands, Gorse Chamber, Vivid Creek, like these Command Tower and Vivid lands I would play in a regular deck. Alchemist Refuge and Hall of the Bandit Lord definitely. Reliquary Tower, pretty typical. Couldn't get Strip Mine or Wasteland, obviously, because they're a little bit more expensive. So we've got Ghost Quarter in the land destruction slot, which I've never really used in paper. Obviously, it doesn't seem that good. Even if I were going super deep, I'd just get something like Dust Bowl, We've got a Temple of False Gods. I'm pretty excited about that. And Alchemist Refuge, both cards that I'm a pretty big fan of. We've got some sack lands that let us shuffle because we do have a Brainstorm and we want to kind of be able to get value off of Brainstorm. Let's look at these artifacts. We were able to get Soul Ring, Lightning Greaves, some of the more random stuff like Whisper Soul Cloak and Swiftfoot Boots, things I wouldn't necessarily recommend being put in a competitive commander list, but they're still pretty good. Steel Hellkite kind of pickup. This card is worth like almost nothing online, but it's actually like a reasonably common inclusion in many commander decks in paper. So, all right, let's take a look at the one drops. This is probably where the deck is suffering the most. Like, we don't have kind of the selection of one drops that we'd want. We've got a lot of really like dorky stuff like flying men, just kind of really not doing anything, you know. Some of them have evasion. Some of them have other abilities like Lyrist, Scrapper, Scavenging Folk, you know, but some of the more silly ones not really doing anything. Yeah. I haven't played with this card before, Nefalius Mungulator, but it seems pretty good. You know, blue-green decks typically have a lot of things to recycle and like the enter the battlefield triggers and things like that. So it might be good. There's not too much of that going on in here, but maybe we can work some more of that in later. So in the one drops, like the most important ones, obviously Llanowar Elves, Arbor Elf, and where is he? Tree Speaker is pretty good, although it does not let you doesn't let you cast a turn 2 Edric. Skyshot Ranger is another one of the like great kind of the one drops you want to see in your opening hand. Like you want to play this on turn 1 and get a turn 2 Edric, which on the play is just pretty good. Voidstalker is a card I haven't played too much with. Obviously, it's kind of new from M13, but it seems good. It seems like tucking generals is a good way for this deck to win because like it doesn't have any real like mid-range game. Got some card draw spells. Spinach Myth, a favorite of mine, does basically has the same purpose of Voidstalker, just shuffle their stuff in. Corrupted Conscience and Confiscate, and the classic green ramp spells here. Some stuff you'd expect to see in any green-blue deck. Yeah, Preordain probably the best card in the deck right now, sadly. So what else have we got? We've got a pretty big selection of counter spells. Unfortunately, they're not very good. Oh, I forgot to mention this. We got a Miser's Sleep in here. I really have no idea what this card is doing here. I was short playables, basically, and I had one in my collection. I was like, this has got to be basically free. So I threw it in the deck, and I'm sure I'll throw it back out pretty quickly. Yeah, check out some of the counter spells. Spell Crumple and Hinder, which are pretty sweet pickups because they're very important in Commander. Got some other stuff that's pretty good. Unified Will is very good in this deck. Memory Lapse is very good in this deck. Just because you don't need to buy, you don't really need to answer stuff. You can just buy some time, draw a bunch more cards. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, so that's about it. We're gonna go into the Just for Fun room here and hop into a constructed Commander game. We've been doing one-on-one duels with the regular time limits and everything. So I'll be back when we've got a match ready.